products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
The savings continue all November long at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln. They're extending their red tag sale with machines priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Plus 10% off snowplow kits, 10% off fly motocross gear, and 50% off all in-stock road tires. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for the holiday season.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Need an adventure? How about the bright lights of Vegas? The magic of Orlando? Or the sunshine of Orange County? Now you can reach them all with new flights from LNK on Breeze Airways. Stretch out, relax, and enjoy the flight. Your vacation starts the moment you board at LNK. Book today at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in to college football game day on this beautiful Saturday morning we got here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Not too much Husker Red walking by the station today as we are on a bye week, which maybe gives us Husker fans a little time to breathe, take a little break, especially coming off that big win at UCLA, heading to the Rose Bowl, making a statement there against a UCLA team that is pretty up and coming after getting rid of their head coach. They beat some good teams, defeated Penn State, defeated Michigan State, had a few just solid wins. Going into that, they were a team that got Nebraska's number last year here at Memorial Stadium. I think Nebraska had some vengeance going into that one. And Emmett Johnson looked absolutely unbelievable. He looked unstoppable, like one of, if not the best running back in the entire country, which we will get into talking about Emmett Johnson and all that he has done for the Huskers, where we see him in the Doak Walker Award race. We see him, Matt Rule praising him, trying to get him to New York for that Heisman Trophy opportunity. We'll get into all that. But before we get into that, we'll talk about just some games we had already played yesterday. We'll talk about the college football playoff, how the rankings are shaping up right now. They are subject to change, so don't get too upset, too excited about what these rankings are now, because we still got 3 weeks left of the regular season. With that being said, we'll go over some picks for games. Feel free to text in on your takes, some picks you like, some teams you maybe want to get upset today. All of it, all your thoughts, please text in at 402-464-5685. Now, let's start with the games that we had on slate last night on Friday, some Friday night lights in college football. To start off, we had Clemson taking on number 20 Louisville. Louisville, a team that has some pretty solid wins, but also has lost 2 going into that one. They defeated Miami at Miami, which was a huge win for them. And Clemson and Dabo Swinney has been on the struggle bus, but they weren't last night. It wasn't the prettiest game. Got to watch a little bit of it. Quite a few turnovers, quite a few goal line stops by both teams. And in the result of that one, Clemson came out on top 20-19. I think that's a huge win for Clemson, but we always talk about it here. Way before the season, Dabo Swinney made the take that this Clemson team was going to be the first team to ever go 16-0, I believe, with how many games there are now and able to be played, including the college football playoff, conference championship. He believed they were going to be the first team to ever go 16-0. Obviously, that was not the case. They started off week 1 with the loss to LSU, which we thought would be 2 teams that are fighting for this college football playoff race, and that is not the case. Both teams ended up in their conference struggling, losing games. Clemson with some real tough losses to some teams you expect them to beat. Georgia Tech is a good one, but lost to them. But LSU, on the other hand, playing in a tough SEC, people had them being maybe that 3 team. You have Texas, you have Georgia. Is LSU that 3rd team in there? They end up firing their head coach, Brian Kelly. He's out of there. And now I think they're both teams are just trying to build for next year, try to maintain some morale, continue to get the recruits come in, continue to win as much as they can with those playoff hopes just out the door. Another game we had on slate yesterday was Oregon. The number 8 Ducks took on the Minnesota Golden Gophers at home in Eugene at Autzen Stadium, and Oregon looked the part. I think they're a team that has been doubted just a little bit after their loss at home to Indiana, and they've beat teams but haven't really beat up on them. Wisconsin was only a 21-7 victory in a downpour in Eugene, and then last week they took on Iowa at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. And it was also raining in that one. And that was a hard-fought battle. I think that was the epitome of what Big Ten football is. You could see Iowa wanted to be physical. They were going to try to run the ball, but also, play the field position game, dominate on special teams. And I think Oregon transitioned well going into that and understanding we're going to have to play some Big Ten physical football. They ended up winning that one in a field goal with just 2 seconds left, and they take that one home. Last night, they take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers. They win 42-13. Dante Moore with an unbelievable game in that one. He was 27 for 30 with 306 passing yards, as well as 2 passing touchdowns to go along with that. People were down Dante, I think, just a little bit after that Iowa and Wisconsin game, just because they weren't able to throw the ball as much in the downpour, and Oregon's run game kind of took over in those ones. With that being said, Minnesota, I don't know if they just have the Huskers number or what it is, because they have struggled. They got blown out by Iowa, just recently got blown out by the Ducks. And then when the Huskers head up to them on a Friday night, it does not turn out well for the Huskers. And Minnesota looks like they're a top team in the Big Ten. They are 4-3 in the Big Ten right now, I believe, with they're 6-4 overall. All 4 of those losses have come on the road. They're 6-0 at home. So maybe it is just Minnesota is a tough place to play. And hopefully, next year, if they do play Nebraska, they will be at Memorial Stadium, and the Huskers can get a little get back there and keep fighting. Now, let's talk about the college football playoff rankings. The committee has come out with some rankings, I believe, starting last week, and now every week until the actual rankings and solidified playoff bracket comes out, they'll continue to put these rankings out so we can get an understanding of just what we're going to get on this playoff slate, what we can expect, teams that are up there competing for that playoff spot right now. So let's talk about that. To start off, we have number 1, Ohio State. I believe they deserve that spot wholeheartedly. Going into that week 1 game against Texas, I think a lot of people had Ohio State in that one's beginning, and they were the number 2 team. Texas was the number 1 team. Texas ends up losing that one, and they're fighting their way back into the playoffs. I think we maybe doubted Ohio State just a little bit, losing a quarterback, new quarterback, and Julian Sain coming into the mix for them. But they've shown why they won the national championship last year and why it seems like they haven't lost a step in 2025. They continue to just dominate teams. And in every game you watch them play, they're just so well coached. And it seems like the other team doesn't have a chance, because when a team is so well coached, but then they also have just better talent than whoever they're playing, it's pretty hard to beat unless they beat themselves, which Ohio State has not done yet this year. They would take on, if the bracket started today, they would take on the winner of number 9 Notre Dame and number 8 Oregon. I don't know if I think either of those teams are going to end up in those spots. There's so much room for change. Notre Dame started off the year 0-2 with losses to Miami in week 1, as well as Texas A&M at Texas A&M. So there's 2 games that Notre Dame was in a hole, and they have just continued to win and win and win and find ways to keep themselves in this college football playoff hunt. Do they deserve to be in? I'm not sure. They're not playing in a conference. They get to schedule their own schedule. They're playing Pitt today, but they're coming in at 7-2. They have to win out if they want to get in. I think there's no other way that they find their way. The 2 teams they've lost to are teams that are at the top of their respected conferences, with Texas A&M in the SEC and Miami close to the top in the ACC. So we'll see how that one plays out. Oregon, I think, just needs to continue to win, but they have a tough slate coming ahead for them. They take on USC at home, which will be a huge matchup for the whole Big Ten. There's been, I feel like, so much talk going into this year that there's going to be 4 Big Ten teams that make it into this college football playoff. Right now, I'm not sure if that's what we're going to get. Right now, we have Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, and then there's a few teams that are just outside, USC being one of them, Michigan being another, Iowa being another. Those are the 3 also ranked teams that are not in this college football playoff bracket yet. USC, if they find a way to defeat the Ducks in Eugene next weekend, I think they get themselves in. I also would think Oregon would get themselves in, with their only losses being to USC and Indiana, being that 2-loss team similar to what Ohio State was last year. If that doesn't happen, let's say Oregon wins out, Ohio State wins out, Indiana wins out, that means that Ohio State beat Michigan. Michigan would end up with 3 losses. USC, if they lose to Oregon, 3 losses. Iowa already has 3 losses. So I don't know if we've seen a team with 3 losses get in yet. I mean, we've only had the 12-team bracket for just a year. But we have not seen a team like this. We've never seen a Big Ten like this, where there's so many teams that are just beating up on each other. I guess this is what they say in the SEC all the time. They just tell people it's a bloodbath every single weekend. Anyone can beat anyone. I mean, that's what the Big Ten is, though. There's so many teams that are just in the middle of the pack that show up and show out just Saturday after Saturday. And these 3 teams, Michigan, USC, Iowa, they're the teams that are fighting to get in. Got a text from an unknown texter. Don't underestimate that Notre Dame Texas A&M game. Texas A&M is undefeated. Notre Dame took them to overtime. That is true. Texas A&M is at the top of the SEC, and Notre Dame did lose to them in overtime. They're still a good team. And if we're being honest, Notre Dame lost to Miami. I think if that game's played again this weekend, I'm going to take Notre Dame in that one. I think they're just playing all-around better football, and Marcus Freeman continues to get them better every single week. Next up on the college football playoff bracket, at the 2 seed, we have Indiana, who deserves this. It's so funny. I talk about this all the time. Going into the season, we were all like, who's going to be the Indiana this year? Who's going to be the team that maybe surprises us and just continues to win and win and win? And then Kurt Signetti and the Hoosiers were like, it's going to be us again. It is us. We just win. Google him. So I think they deserve that. They go into Eugene. They win that one. They absolutely blow out Illinois. And looking at their schedule, I don't think they have too tough of a schedule the rest of the way. They don't play Ohio State. I don't believe they play USC. So they have a schedule that really just fits well for them to go ahead and win, similar to Ohio State. Possibly that Ohio State-Michigan game, one of the biggest rivalries in sports. Michigan has Ohio State's number. I do expect Ohio State to handle that one this year. That would mean that Indiana, Ohio State, they're both undefeated. They make it to the conference championship game. Winner of that, I believe, should be the 1 seed in the college football playoff bracket, while the loser of that game still should be one of those top 4 teams to get a bye. Indiana at the 2 seed, they get the bye. They would take on Texas or Ole Miss. A little SEC matchup that would be pretty fun between Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian. I'm not sure if that's how it's going to play out. I mean, Texas has a huge game today, huge game against the Georgia Bulldogs, which I think Texas has to win. If they want to maintain that spot in the college football playoff, this is a game that they really have to win. And I think they know that. They understand after those tough losses earlier to Ohio State and in the swamp against Florida, they got to pretty much win out if they want to keep their spot in the college football playoff. Next up, we have number 3, Texas A&M. This is a team that I don't think many people expected, but Texas A&M is always good, but they always find a way to lose, and then they don't end up in the college football playoff. There's always so much hype around them. This is one of the first years in a long time, probably since Johnny Manziel, where they've just continuously won and won. They're undefeated, sitting at that number 3 spot in the college football playoff rankings. They would take on the winner of Miami and Texas Tech. I think that would mean that Miami would be winning the ACC conference, which means they have to make the conference championship to start with. They come in with 2 losses, who they got to win out as well if they want any shot. And this is what we saw last year out of Miami with Cam Ward, a team that looked absolutely dominant, looked like they were just going to easily make their way through the ACC, end up in that college football playoff, and that's just not how the cookie crumbled. So they would take on Texas Tech, who seems to be so dominant in the Big 12 right now with their 1 loss coming at Arizona State. They have just been playing absolutely lights out. Had a big win last week against BYU, who was undefeated going into that game, and seemed like those were the top 2 teams in that wide open Big 12 right now. If Texas Tech continues to play how they are with that unbelievable defense, I think they're going to find their way into that conference championship game, a win with that, and they're in the college football playoff pretty easily. Up next, we have number 4, Alabama. They started off really rough with a loss to Florida State. And after that, I think people expected Florida State to be a team that people should be worried about. Maybe this is the team that's better than Miami or should be at the top of the ACC. And Mike Norvell has got it figured out again. That has not been the case for the Seminoles. They've lost a few games after that one, quite a few in the ACC conference. And Alabama has just been lights out. They've been absolutely dominant with wins against some tough opponents. They beat LSU. They beat Missouri at Missouri. Some tough games, and they just found a way to win. Ty Simpson seems like he's settled in as one of the top quarterbacks in the country right now. They would take on the winner of USF, South Florida, or Georgia, which I would expect to be Georgia, and they're saying that USF is going to be that non-Power 4 team that makes it in to this college football playoff. I don't think that's going to be the case for USF. I think there's so many other teams that have their thought that if they just win out, they win their conference, they're going to get in. You have the winner of the Mountain West as well as USF. Memphis has been playing well, but they've dropped a few. It's tough to say who's going to be that team. All that being said, if they have to play Georgia, I'm going to take Georgia 10 times out of 10, which would be pretty cool to get a Georgia-Alabama matchup in that quarterfinal. That would be a hard-fought one. Kirby Smart seems like he always has his guys ready, firing on all cylinders, and they just find a way to win. Going through just some of our Texas. Clemson had 3 losses last year and got in because they won their conference. So the ACC is wide open. Miami with 2 losses, they could get in. Maybe if they lose another one, they end up in that conference championship somehow. And then with that, they win it, you get in. SMU was another team last year who played extremely well, made it to the ACC championship, lost that one to Clemson. That's how Clemson got in. And then SMU still found a way to get squeezed their way in there over teams like Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. I'm curious how the playoff committee is going to go about that this year. Are they going to take the teams? I mean, the SEC always talks about winning hypothetical matchups, but are they going to take the teams that maybe have a better record or the teams that maybe have 2-3 losses in the SEC or the Big Ten? And those are the teams they're going to put in. It's going to be up to the College Football Playoff Committee, and we'll see how it goes. Now let's talk about some Heisman odds so far going into Week 12. It seems like Fernando Mendoza Indiana quarterback has almost just solidified himself at that Heisman top of the race right now. But he's got his counterpart, huge opponent in Ohio State, Julian Sand, quarterback for the Buckeyes. He's been lights out as well. Started off a little bit slow against Texas and then just getting his feet wet in the starting quarterback college football realm. And he's just been lights out lately. I think I saw a stat where he's thrown three times he has thrown consecutive incomplete passes. So he's thrown 2 incomplete passes in a row only 3 times this year, which is incredible. So he throws an incompletion, you can almost guarantee that next one is going to be caught. He's been really good. Marcel Reed at Texas A&M, he comes in at that 3 spot in the odds. He's led the Aggies to a 9-0 start in SEC play. There's nothing that you can argue with that. In order to be 9-0, you have to have a great quarterback leading the squad, and he has done absolutely that. Next, we have Ty Simpson of Alabama, another guy who is just winning in the SEC. I think that's how it's always going to be from now on, is it's going to be a quarterback battle, most likely between, other than last year with Travis Hunter, and there wasn't really a quarterback that just absolutely stood out and exploded. Ashton Genty at running back was number 2 in those votes. But so often in today's world, it's going to be who's the best quarterback in the Big Ten or who's the best quarterback in the SEC. Those are the guys that are going to find a way to win. We saw it with Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, just guys like that continuously are winning over and over again, and they're putting up the stats to show that they should be at the top. A few other guys that are in the mix, Diego Pavia of Vanderbilt. Looking at his stats, I'm not super impressed, but for a Vanderbilt quarterback to win the way that he does, has a tough loss to Texas, loses to Alabama, 2 top teams in the SEC. But outside of that, he's been pretty dominant, and with wins against LSU and some other teams, he just wins and finds a way to win. I think he's more in the position of he finds ways to win. He's not going to blow up the stat sheet as he's going about it, as he's playing. But if you're in the SEC, you're playing good football, it's understandable that you make your way into that Heisman thought process. Next, we have Jeremiah Smith of Ohio State, wide receiver. He's been unbelievable. I don't think he's putting up Devontae Smith numbers when Devontae Smith won the Heisman, though. And it's going to be tough for anyone to ever overcome those records and stats that Devontae had at Alabama with Mac Jones at quarterback. So with that being said, I don't think Jeremiah is going to make it in. He's probably going to be the best receiver in college football once again. Did his freshman year. He's going to do it again this year. He's just unbelievable. And there's really no way to guard them. Gunnar Stockton, another one out of Georgia, quarterback. I think for the same reason as Diego Pavia, is he's just on a winning football team and continues to find ways to win and lead really good football teams. And then Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame is ahead of Emmett Johnson. This is where I want to get into that Emmett Johnson talk. It doesn't make sense to me that maybe it's just the Notre Dame brand and that it's not Nebraska and people, the big media aren't looking at Nebraska. Emmett Johnson is second in rushing yards in the country right now, but number 1 in Power 4 rushing yards. I believe the guy at number 1 is at Jacksonville State. Emmett Johnson comes in at number 2 and then leads Power 4 in the rushing attack. And then he's also doing it out of the backfield. Like, he has some unbelievable stats out of the backfield, receiving the ball as well. He's got 260 yards receiving as well as 2 touchdowns. Like, he's averaging 5.3 a carry. I want to go back and look at just the numbers of some other running backs that have ended up winning this award, because Emmett Johnson seemed like he's on pace, maybe not to win with just how some of these quarterbacks are playing, but definitely has the opportunity to get to New York as arguably the best running back in college football. And you watch him play too, and he just runs hard. And it's nice to have a workhorse of running back and have a Husker running back break that 1,000-yard mark already. In the season is pretty great to see. He's got plenty of 100-yard rushing games, as well as 150-yard just all-purpose yard games, which is pretty great to see out of the Husker running back. First 1,000-yard rusher since Devine Ozigbo. And I think if Nebraska's going to make their run for the rest of the year, win these last 2 regular season games, it's going to fall on Emmett Johnson's shoulders. With that being said, we got to go to break. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk about some of the games, some of the matchups we got going on later today. Some already started. We'll go over the scores of those. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on 93.7 The Ticket.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
The savings continue all November long at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln. They're extending their red tag sale with machines priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Plus 10% off snowplow kits, 10% off fly motocross gear, and 50% off all in-stock road tires. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for the holiday season.
Need an adventure? How about the bright lights of Vegas? The magic of Orlando? Or the sunshine of Orange County? Now you can reach them all with new flights from LNK on Breeze Airways. Stretch out, relax, and enjoy the flight. Your vacation starts the moment you board at LNK. Book today at LincolnAirport.com. LNK. Make flying easy.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. From now through the end of November, Ferndale fresh turkeys are just $3.99 per pound and in limited stock. Perfect for your holiday meals. Plus, you can stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. With locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha, get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town. A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
This holiday season, give the gift of good taste with a gift card from Valentino's. During double discount days, double your discount from $5 to $10 free with a $50 gift card purchase. Valentino's handcrafted pizza has been a family favorite for generations, and our gift cards make the perfect holiday gift. And right now, during gift card double discount days, when you buy $50 in gift cards, get a $10 gift card free. Happy holidays from Valentino's.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships, one with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the 93.7 The Ticket studio. We are talking about college football game day, and we already have some games underway. We'll talk about some of those ones and just all else that we got on slate for this afternoon, as well as the night games. Let's talk about some of the games that have already kicked off. We have Wisconsin. They head to Bloomington to take on the number 2 Indiana Hoosiers. Indiana already up early in that one, 7-0, nearing the end of the first quarter. Pretty big spread on this one, 29.5. I do think just the way that Indiana has been playing and the way they've blown out other teams, that this is very capable of them to cover that one. It's a lot of points, though, and I think Wisconsin's playing a little bit better now. They just beat Washington last week. They play Oregon pretty close, only a 14-point loss to them in Eugene. I'm going to take Indiana, obviously, to win this one, but I do think that the Badgers will cover in that one at 29.5. That's just a lot of points, and I think their defense is playing a little bit better now. Another one we got, number 24, South Florida, the non-Power 4 team that is going to make it as of right now into the college football playoff. They're taking on the midshipmen of Navy. I like Navy in this one, at Navy and Annapolis, and Navy's playing really well, and it's so fun to watch them just continue to run the triple options like it's still the 1950s. I'm a guy that loves the air raid. I love Mike Leach. I love what he did at Washington State, but it is pretty cool just how well they execute that run game and the triple option, and how teams know it's coming and they still find a way to score touchdowns and beat up on teams. I like the upset in that one. I like Navy taking on South Florida at home. I think the midshipmen are going to get that one done. And the college football or college game day game of the day, we have number 9 Notre Dame. They're taking on Pittsburgh. They're up early in that one, 13-0. Notre Dame, I think, is going to win this one pretty easily. The spread of that one being 13.5. I like it because I think Notre Dame wants to prove a point. They lose 2 games early to some pretty good opponents, but now it's almost in college football. It's not like the NFL where it's your record that gets you into the playoffs. It's the head-to-heads, because we don't always get that. What gets you into the college football playoff is kind of the style points. You got to show that you win by easy fashion and you go out there and dominate the teams you're supposed to. You know, if you're a top-ranked team, but you're always winning by 1 score, a field goal, anything like that, the playoff committee is going to notice that and say, all right, so what happens when we put you up against a really top team? Are they going to blow you out? Because you're not blowing out the teams that we expect you to. So I think Notre Dame in this one is going to come out on top in pretty easy fashion. They're already up 13, and we still got 7 minutes left in the first quarter. I'm going to take the Irish in that one. Next up, we got South Carolina taking on number 3, Texas A&M in College Station. And I think this isn't just an SEC matchup. I think South Carolina was a team that we expected to be a lot better than what we are probably seeing right now. They have Lenore Sellers, who was a Heisman favorite going into this season, and they just could not get out of their own way. They were losing close games, but also getting blown out a little bit by teams that we did not expect that to happen to. The spread in that one is 16.5. I think South Carolina is going to play well. These are the games that, as an unranked team, and you have the opportunity to really ruin someone's day, ruin someone's season, Texas A&M will still make it in with a loss. I do think that Texas A&M is going to pull this one out. I don't think by 16.5, though. I think South Carolina continues to keep it close. We got a 3-3 ball game in that one. Another one, we have the Cincinnati Bearcats, who I think us Husker fans maybe are rooting for a little bit now, because we beat them week 1 at Arrowhead, and Cincinnati's continue to show that they're a really good team. And that looks great on Nebraska's resume, saying, yeah, we beat a really good team, a team that is at the top of the Big 12. They're taking on the Arizona Wildcats at home. We got Cats on Cats. It's a 7-7 score right now, midway through the first. Now, here's a fun one. Michigan taking on Northwestern at Wrigley Stadium, one of the best venues in all of sports. It's pretty cool to see how college football just makes its way to different places. I do believe this is because Northwestern is building a new stadium, and they've been playing on that lakefront stadium. It was actually pretty cool. I think that was pretty cool how they built that. Probably pretty windy, but for a little makeshift stadium while they're building this Coliseum, they are over in Evansville in Chicago. It's going to be pretty cool to see them play at Wrigley. I'm excited to see what just the stadium looks like, where the fans are sitting, how close they are. You always worry. I wonder if anyone's going to end up in the ivy on the outfield wall. Hopefully not. But That'll be a good one to watch. Currently, it's still a 0-0 ball game. Michigan's still fighting to make their spot in the college football playoff. I believe they have to win out. They got to beat Ohio State in that rivalry week if they want any shot of making that college football playoff, which is going to be a huge task, but they've done it before. They did it last year. I'm going to take Michigan in this one going against Northwestern, but Northwestern is a tough opponent. I mean, Nebraska saw it. We noticed that they just continued to fight their way back and made it a close ball game and played some pretty good defense. And I think that's what Michigan is going up against today. So we'll see how that one plays out. I'm going to take Michigan in that one. Next up on the slate today here, we get into the afternoon games for our ranked teams. NC State, they take on number 15, Miami. Miami, another team who needs to make a statement with these wins now, with their losses that they had on their schedule to Louisville, and I would like to know the other one. I'll try to think of it. But when you have those losses and you're a two-loss team in the ACC, I think the only way you get in is winning that conference championship. And how does Miami do that? They have to win out. They have to get into that championship game, and then they have to win it. They got to do the whole thing in the ACC if they want any shot of making that college football playoff. Right now, they're at that 11th spot in the college football playoff. And if they want to solidify that, they got to win. I'm going to take them in this one against NC State. Number 19, Virginia. They're another team in the ACC who has kind of shocked a few people. I don't think people had Virginia on their radar of teams that was going to be at the top. You know, you talked about Clemson, you talked about Miami, Georgia Tech's on the up and coming. Virginia, another team who's making a name for themselves. They head to Duke to take on the Blue Devils today at 2:30. I believe Duke might be favored in that one. So if they are, I'm going to take Virginia. I think they're a really good ball club, and they continue to just win games in the ACC. Duke is favored by 5.5. I'm going to take Virginia. I'm going to take the Cavs in that one. Maybe sprinkle a little bit on the Virginia money line. Next up, huge Big Ten matchup today. It may not seem like it because it's not those, top three that we always talk about, but it's number 21 Iowa at USC at the Coliseum. Iowa coming off a really tough loss to the Ducks of Oregon. We're going to have to see how they bounce back. And these are two teams. I think Iowa comes in at 3 losses. USC comes in with just 2, and they're 5-0 at home. But this is a game that kind of just solidifies, if USC wins, maybe that solidifies them as that number 4 team in the Big Ten. So I think this is one where Lincoln Riley is going to have his guys firing on all cylinders, making sure that they're executing to beat the Iowa Hawkeyes, who probably have a really bad taste in their mouth after the way that they played against the Ducks. They played extremely well, kept it close, score a touchdown late in the game to go up by 1, and then Oregon drives down the field to kick a last-second, late in the game field goal to go ahead and win that one. Iowa, still a really good team, though. I'm excited to have them come to Memorial Stadium. I feel like that's going to be a hard-fought battle, and Nebraska is going to be ready for that one. With that being said, though, I like the Trojans in that one. They're favored by 6.5. I'm not sure if it's going to be by that much. I'm expecting a really close game. I think Iowa keeps it close. I think it's going to be maybe a last-second field goal again or just a 3-point game for the Trojans in that one. Next, we got the top team in the Big 12, Texas Tech. They take on UCF and Scott Frost. They take them on at home. I'm expecting a big win out of the Red Raiders in this one. I think this is a game where the Red Raiders are favored by 23.5. I'm going to take them to cover that. I mean, they played extremely well against BYU, who was another top team in the Big 12 going into last week, and Texas Tech handled them so well at home again against a lesser opponent in UCF. I'm going to take Texas Tech to win that one, and I think they win by more than 24. I think that's going to be a pretty easy game for them and hopefully upset Scott Frost a little bit. Next, we have Georgia Tech, another ACC team that's really taken this ACC by storm. They were undefeated going into the last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago when they lost to Duke, and they're one-loss team in an up-in-the-air ACC. I don't know why, but it feels like the Big 12 and the ACC are very similar to how the Big 10 and the SEC are. Because in the ACC, it seems like so many teams are so similar in talent, and it just depends on who's going to coach, who's going to out-coach another team, who's going to out-execute. Georgia Tech has done that so far. They win out there in the or in the ACC championship, giving themselves an opportunity to make it to the college football playoff. So we'll see how that one shapes up. They take on Boston College, who only has 1 win so far this year. So I'm not too high on the Eagles out of Boston College. I'm going to take Georgia Tech in this one to win pretty easily. Next up, huge SEC matchup, which I'm excited to get into. Alabama hosts Oklahoma. This was a game last year where Alabama headed to Oklahoma and lost. And that was one of the unranked teams that Alabama lost to last year. They lost to Vanderbilt as well. So this is an Alabama team who is up and coming. They lose week 1, and they've been dominant ever since. An Oklahoma team and Brett Venables, who is trying to just keep his name up there. They lose to Texas. They lose to Ole Miss, 2 top teams in the SEC. And he wants to make sure that he solidifies himself as a head coach in the SEC and he can compete with the big dogs. This is a huge statement. This is an opportunity to do it. I think Alabama is going for some vengeance. They want revenge right now against the Sooners after what happened last year in Norman. I'm going to take Alabama in this one. I don't think by too easy fashion. I think this is going to be a really hard-fought game, but I do think that Alabama is going to out-execute. And just playing on Nick Saban Field, I don't think there's any way the Sooners pull this one out. Next up, Tennessee. The SEC always does this. They have their non-Power 4 team that they take on every single time at this time of the season, almost treating it like a bye week in a sense. We've seen teams that somehow make a game upset teams in the SEC, but Tennessee, number 23, they take on New Mexico State at 3:15 today. I'm expecting Tennessee to handle that one pretty easily and just get ready to finish the regular season of SEC play. I still am not a huge fan of this. I guess when you're playing good team after good team in the SEC, you kind of need a break and need probably a lesser opponent. But it still doesn't make sense to play New Mexico State right now because I feel like you almost fall off a little bit. You get to practice and prepare, and you probably don't have to play such a hard-fought battle as you would if you're playing in Alabama or a Georgia. But when you're playing in these types of games, you kind of let off the gas pedal a little bit, and then the next week you're taking on another high-ranked SEC opponent, and you got to lock back in. I'm going to take Tennessee in this one pretty easily at Neyland. Next up, the Florida Gators, coachless. One of those coachless teams. There's plenty of them right now in college football. They take on Lane Kiffin and number 7, Ole Miss in Oxford. I'm going to go with Ole Miss in this one by pretty easy fashion. I don't think this is going to be too tough of a game for Ole Miss and the Rebels by any means. And this seems like an Ole Miss team in Lane Kiffin who's like, he's upset that he hasn't been in the college football playoff yet. And he's had good teams. He had Jackson Dart. He had Trey Harris at receiver. He had so many great weapons that just did not make it in. I think this is the year that Ole Miss makes it into that college football playoff. And they're a team that is tough to beat. Trinidad Shambles is a great quarterback. He's filling in for the backup Austin Simmons, but he's almost just taken that starting job himself and said, all right, I'm going to take this job and I'm going to run with it. Ole Miss is favored in that one by 11.5. I expect them to do that. Florida has been struggling. DJ Lagway, who was in comparison to Dylan Raiola earlier this year, and unfortunately Dylan Raiola goes down with an injury, but prior to that, Dylan was playing lights out compared to DJ Lagway, 2 true freshman quarterbacks last year. He's struggling. I'm going to take Ole Miss and the Rebels in this one by 11.5. Next up, we have number 13, the Utah Utes take on the Baylor Bearcats at Baylor. Utah, another team, top of the Big 12, fighting to make their way into that college football playoff with a win in their respective conference championship. Utah, I expect to handle that one pretty well. They're favored by 8.5, and I expect them to do that pretty easily. This might be the biggest game of the week. I know College Game Day. Thankfully, they're not always going to an SEC game, but it is Texas, Georgia. It's a rematch of the SEC championship last year. This is a huge game for all of college football. Texas heads to Georgia. Arch Manning and the Longhorns. They have a statement to prove, and I don't think they can afford a loss if they want to make their way into the college football playoff, which is a little scary for them because they're going to be playing with their hair on fire. But anytime you have to go against Kirby Smart, I'll be honest, I think most battles are won before they're even fought. And I think Kirby Smart always finds a way to prepare his guys as best as he possibly can. So when they go into battle, they always just find a way to win. And it's not a problem. We'll maybe touch a little bit more on that matchup in the next segment. To finish up on our ranked teams, UCLA, they take on number 1 Ohio State. I expect Ohio State to blow UCLA out of the water. I think this is a game where Ohio State continues to just fine-tune things, get better. And UCLA, I don't think has much confidence going into this one after Nebraska pretty much took it from them in the Rose Bowl. And then last but not least, we got the night slate. We got number 12 BYU hosting TCU. Cougars coming off a tough loss to the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. I do expect them to find a way to win this one. Horned Frogs are a tough team, but BYU is a well-coached group. And with one loss, they're still fighting to make their way into that conference championship, and I expect them to do just so. With that being said, we're going to take our final break. We'll wrap up, maybe go over game of the day, what to look out for, and maybe just what we are expecting from the Huskers for the last few weeks of the regular season with two tough matchups. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on 93.7 The Ticket.
What's it take to be a mentor with big brothers, big sisters? It takes 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. A video game, best 2 out of 3. It takes sharing thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, and loaded nachos at halftime. That's how you make an impact on a young kid's life. So go on, share a few hours a month, because mentorship may sound huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big. To learn more, volunteer, or donate, go to BeBigNow.org.
Gary with Gary Michaels Clothiers Lincoln. I'm here to tell you about our custom shirt program. When you come into the store, we measure your chest, mid-waist, and sleeve length. Enter the measurements in an app, and we create your data fit size. You then try on one of our 99 data fit shirts for the proper fit. After that, pick out the fabric, collar, cuff, placket, and in roughly 2 weeks, your shirts are delivered at the same cost of buying off the rack. And by the way, the neck fits too. Gary Michaels Custom Shirts at 56th and Pine Lake Road, Lincoln.
Midwest Bank is hosting our annual Thanksgiving food drive, partnering with local Lincoln schools to provide Thanksgiving dinners to families in need. We hope to provide meals for more than 120 families in our community this year. You can help by dropping off a donation at either Midwest Bank location, 7001 Pioneers Boulevard or 2655 Jamie Lane. Any donation is greatly appreciated. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches, too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show. Sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Krikak of State Farm Insurance.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, and family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apples, chili, vegetable, chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today.
Are you tired of your usual barbershop experience? Stop into Scissors and Scotch today. I know what you're thinking. Drink during a haircut? Don't worry. First comes the precision cut from one of their experienced barbers, followed by your complimentary cocktail in their upscale lounge. Scissors and Scotch blends your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. And now you can earn $10 off by simply mentioning the ticket. And if you're an existing member, still mention the ticket for an exclusive offer. Offer valid at Lincoln location only. Scissors and Scotch, located just south of 30th and Yankee Hill, and online at lincoln.scissorscotch.com.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the last few minutes of the college football game day show here at 93.7 The Ticket. Feel free to text in if you got any teams that you're expecting to win today, teams you're rooting for, or just hot takes. 402-464-5685. To top it all off, we already have some games that are kicking off playing right now. We'll see if any scores have changed in that one. Notre Dame up 14-0. Navy leading the USF Bulls by 5, 14-9 in that one. South Carolina up on 9-0, number 3 ranked Texas A&M in College Station, 17-3 at the end of the first quarter. Maybe that's an upset we see today, and the Gamecocks just came out different today against the Aggies. Cincinnati leads at the end of the first quarter, 14-7, while Michigan and Northwestern still 0-0 in this one in the second quarter. Some good college games on right now. If you're listening here, I wouldn't be upset if you go watch some college football. Go watch it. It's great. It's on. It's the best time of the year, college football Saturday. With that being said, we're going to wrap up just talking about the Nebraska schedule, what's on slate for these last two games, and what we expect out of the Huskers this year. So the Huskers come in right now. They're 7-3 going into this bye week. Already more wins in the regular season than we had last year. So I think that's a victory. I think us Husker fans sometimes get into this mode where before the season, we look at the schedule and we look at it and we say, all right, who are some of those like better teams in the Big Ten, teams that we maybe don't expect to beat, or maybe if we do, it'd be a huge shock. So we looked at our schedule this year and saw Cincinnati W, Akron W, Houston Christian W, non-conference over. We expect to win all those. Michigan comes to town. I think that was one where Husker fans were really excited about. That could have been a pivotal moment in just Matt Rule's Cornhuskers and where this team is going. But we end up losing that one by 3 at home. Respectfully, though, it's Michigan. It's a blue blood. It's a powerhouse. Next, we have Michigan State. Expect to win. Maryland, expect to win. Minnesota, I think that was one everyone looking at the schedule going into this year said, this is one that we're going to come out on top in. Minnesota's had our number somehow for a few years, but this is a different Nebraska team where we're going to win. Unfortunately, it's not the case. The Huskers lose that one in Minneapolis to the Golden Gophers, but then they take on Northwestern, win that one. USC, I think that was one on our schedule where we all thought this is one of those big games. Ranked opponent, Nebraska is finally going to win. And unfortunately, it just wasn't the case. But looking into this year, in my thoughts, in my head, I thought the only losses could possibly be Michigan and Penn State. And unfortunately, we're already at 3, but that's still way better than it is last year. 7-3 bye week to prepare for these last 2 weeks, which are going to be huge matchups. Because ending up at 9-3 would be huge for the program. Absolutely huge. They take on Penn State in Happy Valley next weekend. And Penn State was a team on our schedule, I think, at first we all looked at and said there's a no shot the Cornhuskers win that one. And now Penn State looks broken. They get rid of James Franklin. Drew Aller goes down. This is an opportunity for the Cornhuskers to make a statement, win in Happy Valley. That gets them to 8-3. And then they take on the Forbidden Hawkeyes, who are ranked number 21 right now. If Nebraska can find a way to win these last 2 games, I think Nebraska fans should be so excited moving forward for what we've got in our Cornhuskers, because it's exciting stuff. Matt Rule, I think, is the guy that has come in and really just made the statement that this is Nebraska. This is the place to be. This is a destination job, and you can win here. You just have to find the right talent, but also find the right coaches, and he's done just that in Mike Etler, John Butler, Dana Holgerson. He's found guys to surround him and instill confidence into his players, and we've seen that much more, so much more playmaking. We see Emmett Johnson going off, which is absolutely insane. Let's get him to New York. Continue to vote. Get Emmett Johnson to New York. With that being said, that's going to wrap up our college football game day show. Thank you for tuning in here at 93.7 The Ticket. Now, go Big Red and go watch some college football.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now through November 16th, enjoy USDA Choice Tomahawk Ribeyes $14.99 per pound.